Okay, thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. I'm going to go over some training with you. My name's Rita, Ashin, and I'm a president in the new consumer community. Mother of 6, I've got 3 grandchildren, and I do a lot of things in the company. I do a lot of presenting and training, but my background is in marketing and retailing. And I specialize in the education of cryptocurrency. I was born and raised in Māngere in Auckland, New Zealand. So let's get on with this investment training and go over what we're going to look at tonight. It's called the 8 Rules of the Private Investor. So first of all, I want to go over the terminologies with everyone. That will be the first thing that we look at, and then go over the commandments, 5 commandments of the private investor. Okay, sorry we lost sound there because I'm not feeling well as well, and every now and again I might cough, so I'll mute myself. Okay, so 5 commandments of the investor. We'll go over financial plans, which is actually my favorite rule. Diversification, maintain investor discipline. Number 6, which is don't be greedy, don't be lazy. Number 7, always learn about investing. And number 8, learn to increase your income. So these rules are very simple, but once you follow them, once you know them inside out, this is a great foundation for building your investments, a great investment portfolio, and a great way moving forward for you to increase your wealth, right? So rule number 1, we go over the terminology, and it's imperative that you know the difference between these. So we have financial freedom and financial independence. We want to talk about assets and liabilities, and we also want to talk about investments and investing and what the differences are between them. Excuse me. So financial independence. Now this is defined by someone who has assets and a situation where they can cover their monthly expenses for 10 consecutive years, right? And this is without changing the quality of their life. And we'll give you an example. So for example, let's just say that your expenses were $1,000 a month. I know for some people it's not realistic, but give this example. $1,000 a month is your expenses, right? Now for a whole year, what you need to do is multiply that by 12. So get out your calculator, right? Or maybe you can figure it out in your head. 1,000 for your expenses times 12 months gives you 12,000, right? And so to be financially independent means that you can hold that for a period of 10 years. So then we do 12,000, which is the yearly amount of our expenses, times that by 10 years. So this is how we get 120,000, right? But then after that, your money runs out, right? So you'll have to go back to some sort of form of income, or you may have to return back to work. Okay, let's look at financial freedom. Now, this is achieved by having an income from your assets, and what happens is the income always continually grows, or you can cover all your expenses without losing anything. So let's take a look at the example again. Now, using the same example that your expenses were $1,000 a month, if you had 120,000, because this first example, this person had 120,000, but if we put that into some sort of investment where you got 12% annually, then you would get $1,000 a month, right? So under this example, you would be able to live forever if those expenses remain the same for an indefinite period of time, right? So this is what you call financial freedom. You'll never have to worry about going to work again if you were able to do this. Now let's look at assets and liabilities. Assets are resources with economic value that an individual owns or controls with the expectation that it will provide future benefit, right? So some people mistake a house for an asset. If you're living in your house, it's not an asset, right? An asset would more likely be if you had a property that you were renting and you were getting the future benefit of rents from that property every single month. And even a car, for example, a car's a liability. It's not an asset because it doesn't bring you any income unless that car is used for as a taxi, some sort of delivery service like Uber. So those are definitely liabilities. So assets, liabilities are your expenses. Now let's look at investment tools, right? So investment tools are things that we use for where we are going to invest our money into, right? So there's different kinds of tools that you can use, or we like to call them instruments, and you can deposit or invest your money into these certain tools, with the idea that it's going to grow for you, right? Doesn't always go up. Sometimes investments go down, but that's just the nature of the game. But these are the different tools that you can use. Some of the popular ones are real estate, and then we've got Forex, and we've got stocks that a lot of people invest into. And look at your what is it, the super that we have. If you're in the States, you call it 401k, but here in Australia, we call it super funds, right? Superannuation. A lot of the investment managers, they put a lot of the funds from everyone that were in their group into the stocks. And when the stock markets actually crashed a couple of months ago, March the 13th actually, many people opened their accounts to find that their super funds had just diminished overnight, right? We had friends that lost over 20,000 in their super funds overnight because of that crash. Now, why did that affect them so badly? It's because the investment managers invested too many of the funds into one investment tool, right? Instead of spreading the investments around, which is another rule that we follow. So investing is the art of using these tools, right? So you have investments. These are things that you put your money into, but investing is the art of doing so, right? So for example, let's imagine that you had 10,000 invested. Taking it into account monthly capitalization for 20 years, if you invested monthly at 12%, you would get 110,000 plus at the end of that term, at the end of 20 years. If it's 15%, you would get nearly 200,000, so you get 199,619. 18% gets you even more, over 361,000. 24% gets you 1.1, nearly 1.2 million. And 30% yearly is 3.841. So that is huge amounts of money. And this is when we are able to compound that investing, right? So this is great. So you can see the massive difference from 12%, which gives you 110,000 to 30%. So, the question you want to ask is, how can I get to that particular amount? What can I do to get 30% on my investments, right? And this is what we do. We teach you how to look for these investments. And, guys, these investments are not going to be, standing there, waiting for you to grab them. You have to go and look for them. They're not going to be automatically on the internet under the word Google, right? Not every investment opportunity is on the internet. Sometimes they are within your local communities, right? So get out there and mingle with people and, go to expos and get to know business people and join these kinds of groups. So when these investment opportunities come up, you'll be right where the action is and ready to make your own decision, your own due diligence on whether this is a good investment or not. Okay, so those are the different terminologies. The second rule is the 5 commandments, right? So the 5 commandments are these. Commandment number 1 is save 10 to 30% from all your income. And so what I do, just personally, whenever I have income, receive income, what I do straight away when it hits my bank, I send it off, a portion of it, and it's always more than 10%. I'd probably go 20 to 30 in most cases, and sometimes even more than that, but I send it away to another account and I don't even look at it, right? So I do ask a lot of people, where do you keep your savings, and some of them say, oh, I keep it in the same account. Well, the temptation is there, guys, unless you're really good at that. When you see money all the time, you may be tempted to spend it. So if it's out of mind, out of sight, you probably won't need to lean on it, right? And when you do that, I also, like, for example, I don't have a card associated with that account. I try to just block that out of my mind. And it becomes very easy. It becomes a habit. And these are the habits that we have learned being with this company. Number 2 in this commandments is control your expenses. And now I know a lot of you will agree with me when you say, prior to coming and learning about this company and what $50 can do, right? $50 can definitely change your life. We used to frivolously spend money, right? We used to I wouldn't even think twice about going to a plaza and going to spend a couple of $100 on the weekend, maybe a little bit more. And I think nothing of it. I wouldn't even think that was a waste. But after coming here and learning the education in this company, I now know that when I go to part with $50, as I'm, handing it over, or as I'm just about to spend it, in my mind, I know what that $50 can create. I know that I can get a great package, right? And in this great package, I know I can get a bonus of X amount of this or that. And then I know in the future that it could blah, blah, blah be this or that, right? So I stopped frivolously wasting money from the moment I started to learn the 8 rules of the private investor. So it's great to be able to know this and know that your money can actually multiply and give you some really great wealth creation. So control your expenses, protect your money, right? If you have money, it's taken a long time for you to get that money, right? It's hard work. So don't just go out and blow it. Don't just throw it away, give it unnecessarily. Make sure you protect it, save it, invest it, know where it's going, exactly where it's going. Learn how to invest wisely, and you can do this by studying more. I do not accept the excuse from people saying they're too old to study about investments. And the reason why they say that is because they're too lazy to go and study, right? And they want to rely on other people. And a lot of people don't like listening to me when I talk about the 8 rules of the private investor, but it starts to really hit home, and you realize that, you have to depend on yourself, because that is why you've been failing in your 20s. That is why you failed in your 30s. You failed in your 40s. You're failing in your 50s, right? So you've got to break the chain. You've got to learn how to do these things, and you need to stop relying on other people. You need to do it for yourself, right? And also always learn to earn more, right? So this is what we do as a company, right? Every month we have sales, and the sales revenue is created from everyone that helps to sell the packages. And then we take that revenue and then we grab it, and then we take 40% of that, and what do? We invest more, right? We learn to earn more, right? So learn to earn more, study, use the courses in the back office. Don't just buy them and watch webinars. Go and make a point. Put some time aside every week, even if it's 3 hours a week, 1 hour on a Monday, 1 hour on a Wednesday, maybe 1 hour on a Saturday. Put some time aside to learn how you're going to increase your wealth, right? Study those courses. Rule number 3, financial plans. And like I said, this is my favorite rule. plan what you're going to do with your finances, short term, midterm, and long term. And right now, because it's most exciting time in our company, right, we're getting ready to launch our own blockchain. We're getting ready to go to the market. This is where you've got to get out your book, your pen and paper, right, and start planning on what you're going to do, short term, midterm, and long term. Right, so our financial plan, it's a comprehensive evaluation of your current and future financial state by using known variables to predict future cash flow, asset values, and withdrawal plans. So basically, what is it that you want to buy in the future? How much money do you need, right? What is it that you want to buy and how much do you need, right? So do you want to buy assets? Do you want to buy into businesses? Do you want to buy into a restaurant? Do you want to start a movie production company, right? What do you want to do with your money? Do you want to go on holiday? So plan this, write this all down. What's short term, what's mid, what's long term, right? And how much money you're going to need, right? How much you need to liquidate. So this is what I love about financial plans. It's all very exciting, and now we've got lots of different income streams that are becoming available to us. We can start, these financial plans are looking very exciting, right? And financial planning, that is keeping it current. It's the ongoing process that helps you make sensible decisions about money that can help you achieve your goals, right? So you write down your financial plan, but planning is keeping it current, right? It's a live document. If something changes today, go back to the plan and adjust it, right? So this is the art of keeping a financial plan. Rule number 4, diversification, right? Diversify your capital, invest in different places. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. And another rule that goes with this, right? Do your own due diligence here when you're diversifying, right? I also do not accept when people say, they got into this because someone else told them to. No, you must do your own due diligence. You be responsible for everywhere that you put your money, right? So have a look at the different investments out there. And like I said, not every investment is just going to come to you. You have to go out and look for it. And it probably will not be on the internet, right? The best investments are right there in your own community, right? Just take a look at how many companies there are worldwide, probably over 100 million companies worldwide, right? Now, they all set up as a going concern to earn profits. So there you go. You've got 100 million plus opportunities of where you could possibly invest your money, right? So again, not everything is going to be in Google when you type the word great investment, right? So get out there, get into the community, start networking with people and business, and start knowing what is on offer out there. So diversify. Rule number 5, stick to the plan, right? Sometimes you do have to deviate, but then get back on to that financial plan as well and adjust accordingly. Don't give up, right? We have to, in order to build wealth creation, you got to stick to the plan, right? Otherwise you come back to square one. No one wants to waste time, right? You don't want to waste time. So make sure that if you put a plan in place, do everything you can to try to keep that plan alive and stick to it. Now, number 6, don't be greedy. Greediness leads to bankruptcy. And again, I say people speak about, I invested so much money into this project because my sister-in-law told me, or my best friend or my work colleague told me it was a great investment. I invested so much into it and it's all their fault. No, you were greedy. Sorry, but you were, right? Because one of the rules are that you only ever invest what you are willing to lose. Now, Maria Antoninka did a webinar with me. We did one together around about 6 weeks ago, and she spoke about ICOs that came out in 2017 and how 90% of them were scams. And I was involved in many, many of them, right? But I put in enough in each of those particular investments, and I lost thousands and thousands of dollars, right? But I could afford to lose that. And I never cried about it when I opened the website put in the website name, opened it up, and I got an unknown, website message. I went, okay, cross off the list. Don't cry to nobody. I made those decisions myself using money, or should I say cryptocurrency, that I could afford to lose, right? Because what happens is when you are too greedy and you put all your life savings into something and you say that you trusted someone, and if it doesn't work out, what happens to your relationship? It gets strained, and chances are you don't talk to that person again and you blame that person. But the real person to blame is yourself, because you should have only put in enough, right? Because you got too greedy, only put in enough that you could have afforded to lose. And if you lost it, then you just go, meh, right? Who cares, right? So this is another golden rule. Rule number 6, one of Chris Cressweller's favorite rules too, right? Don't be greedy. It leads to bankruptcy. Okay, rule number 7, self-education, self-development, right? This is what we have, what we're doing with you right now. This course is part of the, one of the smallest packs that we have, 8 Rules of the Private Investor. And yes, you can go and do the course on your own, but if you've got a chance to study with someone and do a bit of a Q&A at the end of it, it's also great as well. But you need to go to the back office and you need to study all those courses. And why? Because if you're involved in this program, right, you're going to start to get some real wealth creation. Now, if you don't know some great investments out there, you're only ever going to receive some wealth and spend it. Receive some wealth and spend it, right? And what's going to happen is you're going to actually wait. You're going to be the kind of person that you get paid on the 1st of the month and you'll go and spend it all. And then you'll be around about the 25th of the month, you're going, oh my God, when's payday? When's payday? When's payday? Right? So this is going to be the people that do not use the education to create more wealth for them. Because, if you create wealth, you never ask when payday is, because every day is payday, right? So make sure you learn, upskill yourself, educate yourself, make sure that you take charge and that you get knowledgeable, right? Don't count on anyone to do this for you, right? You lose control that way. Okay, and rule number 8, always multiply your investment profit. This is what we do every single month in our company, and that's why our growth curve went straight up when the economy all around the world was crashing, right? So we take 40% of our incomes, buy some more assets, or we invest into some more great investment tools, investment instruments, and look at what happens to the company. A year ago, we had about 12 million, the global portfolio's value, and now it's valued at over 400 million. Think of what we're going to be valued a year from now, if that is what we can achieve in 1 year, right? So always multiply your investment profit. If you get some, grab some and put it aside and also reinvest again. And I was very happy when Andrew asked you the question just in the break. If Basalt comes around, who is going to go out there and who is going to get ready so they can buy the biggest package possible? And when you all got excited, I know you've got this rule down pat, right? You already know. Even though we are set, most of us in the Crypto Unit program, we can attest to this. We are set. Future looks bright. We're content, right? We can see millionaire on the horizon, right? But why leave money on the table? If another great investment comes around, why not, right? And so this is the mindset that you guys are already in now. I can see it, and it makes me happy, because now you're in the financial flow of the rich, right? Even though you may not be millionaires now, the mind is, right? So congratulations, guys. That's all of you that actually stayed on, right? Now, 8 Rules of the Private Investor, it's done and dusted. Let's take a look at this capitalization. This is interesting as well. Now, don't freak out on this slide here. Let's take a look at the first couple of lines. And what we see on the first line is a monthly percentage, 8%, right, to 10%. And we've got different varying amounts of salary, right? So let's just say $100 to make it easier. I might go and change the slide later to make it $100. So you've got a salary that's 100, or salary that's 200 or 300, 400, 500. And at the end, you see you've got 8% and 10%. You've got 500 as your salary. So in this particular graph here, what we want to do is we want to take just 10% of your salary. If your salary was 100, right? This is where people say, oh, Andre, I can't even save anything. I can't save anything because I only get X amount of dollars a month. Well, you can have the smallest amount. See, it shows you here. You can take $10 a month. And then I get people saying, oh, but I'm from this country and we don't get that much. Well, in our company, guess what? You can go to some shop owners and introduce them to the business. Give them a link to a webinar. Invite them to come onto a webinar. And when they purchase a package, guess what? You're going to get a commission. Use that commission to start some sort of compounding interest for yourself, to start some sort of wealth creation, right? So we take 10%. This is the white bar across. You put $10 every single month. And what happens after 1 year, that turns into, and this is at 8%, $204.95. But have a look down to the very last column here. Let me just go back. It is on column number 10 is 1.3 million once when it goes through a 10-year period. So it starts at 200, second year is 720, and then it's 2020, 5,000, 13,000, 34, goes all the way to 1.3 million, right? This is compounding interest. Now, if you start at 8% and you're putting away 20 a month, it starts at $409 after 1 year, and it goes all the way to 2.7 million. Look at the third column. We're starting with $30 a month, right? First year, 600, 10th year, over $4 million, right? If you put $40 away, can you see how it works here, right? We did this exercise with the marathon participants, and it's crazy how the compound interest changes the amounts, right? So $40 a month with the 8% a month, $800 after the first year, and over 5.5 million over 10 years, right? So think about 10 years ago. If you knew this 10 years ago, if we could find something 10 years ago, this could be what, our asset value would be worth right now. So you're here in this business, and now you have the knowledge, right? And this great program has been more than 8% per month for some months in the crypto unit program. So think of 10 years from now. Think of 10 years from now. Will you be hitting that 5.5 million? Probably. If you think 10 years from now, your asset value will probably be 5.5 million or plus, just let me know in the chat. Yes, it will, okay? If you think 10 years from now. Now, for $50, if you get 500 a month and you put away 10%, $50 every month into some great investment at 8%, it goes from 1,000 a year right to nearly 7 million, 6.9 million. And the last one, which is at 10% per month, $50 a month, actually it's 30%. If you put 30% away, it works out to be 150 per month, starting off with just 3,500 a year. And then after 10 years, it's crazy, 152 million, right? 152 million. And everyone says, oh, where do we find these? Where do we find these investment interest amounts, right? Like I said, they're not going to come and slap you in the face, but in our company, you should see the amount of, growth, amount of capital growth that we have received, even with our packages, right? So in the crypto unit program will be definitely one of them, right? So this is an exercise that you can do yourself, right? It's in the back office, and most of you who have got packages, even a free back office, you'll be able to do this exercise, right? So start off with this exercise, get an Excel spreadsheet or a blank piece of paper, right? And then start off with a certain amount. We're looking at 3 blocks here, 12% block, a 24% block, and a 36% block, right? And let's start off at the first one, because this is in everyone's back office, right? 8 rules of the private investor under capitalization. Month one is very simple. You start off with $100, right? $100. And what we're going to do is we're going to increase it at 1% per month. Get your calculator out. Don't try to say, oh, I know what it is. No. Use your calculator, because it starts to get difficult. Your eyes start to get crossed, so you definitely need the calculator, right? So just punch out 100 times 1%. It's a 1. So then you put 1 in that middle column. So you add the 2 up, accumulated. What is it? The 100 and the 1 is 101, right? So month 2, what we want to do is we want to fold in another $100, right? Because the investment amount that we're starting off with a salary of $1,000, right? So 10% of our monthly salary is $100 a month, right? So this exercise, we're going to increase it every month by another $100. So at the beginning of month 2, you'll see it says $201. Okay, so now get out the calculator, put down 201, and then now times that by 1%, right? And you get $2. You actually get $2 one more. Put $2 and then add that line up. So it'll be 201 plus 2 is 203. Month 3, add another 100 in, because you want to save 100 every month, and work that out. Go along with the flow, right? And see what you have at the end of 1 year. See what you have if you want to keep going on. See what you have at the end of 5 years, 10 years. Go right up to 25 years with 5-year increments if you want. And once you do this exercise, you then begin to know, wow, that is crazy how much you can actually make by compounding the interest, right? So that's a great exercise, and I definitely encourage you all to try that exercise at least once, right? So let's have a look at this chart, right? We have an example of $1 a day, right? Times 30 days is $30, right? Simple, $1 a day, 30 days, $30, right? Now, if you save that every year for 30 years, you get 10,800, right? 10,800 over 30 years if you've saved $1 a day, okay? Put that aside. Now, if we were able to invest after 30 days, we have the $30, and we were to invest that at 12%, that 1% every month. After 5 years, look down the bottom of the graph, after 5 years, the amount is 2,450. After 10 years, it's nearly 7,000. 15 years, 20 years, 25, 30, right? And it's varying amounts, and start pinpointing the end of those amounts, and you get this massive growth curve, right? And what we want to find out is how much we've made, right? The capitalization on that is 95,097. Total, it was over 105,000. But if we take off the initial amount, then the capitalization is the difference, right? 95,097. So very interesting. You've got to find, this is how you build wealth creation. You've got to find investment opportunities out there that pay you, that pay for you to be invested into it, right? Look for a great investment. And you're only going to know how to do this if you use those courses and you study, right? Fundamentals of capitalization and creation of capital income. Let's just take a look at these two particular blocks here. The 72,000, right? That represents your investment for a set period of time, right? Now, the amount of the investment and the income that you derive from it is what we call the capital income. So that is the orange block, right? But we want to find out what the capitalization is. So capitalization is, you want to take that initial investment amount, the yellow block, away, right? You take it away from the amount of the investment and the income, right? So we can get, so we've got the yellow one, that's the deposit, and then the orange one is the savings. The difference is the capitalization, which is 201. and 9,000. Right, so you can see that there's a massive difference there. Okay, so that is the end of our session. We'll break into a Q&A. Now, if you want to learn about business training, that will be on Thursday when we do the corporate training, same time Thursday night. Okay, so come back then and get ready, especially bring the newbies on board and give them some basic business training so they can hit the ground running with their new, if they're newly into this company. Okay, so that's Thursday. So come back for that. Bring your new people on board and let them enjoy a session on business training as well. Okay, let's stop share. Thank you so much for your attention. Look at the